Well, what do we have here? The second episode of Smackdown on Fox. What happened on this show? Why, of all times, when they could have, what they had last week, The Rock, okay, The Undertaker wasn't on last week, Stone Cold wasn't on last week, you think maybe, they'll get the nostalgia going, try to draw people in. There was a drop-off, a big-time drop-off. They lost 1 million people. That's got to be some type of record-breaking drop-off there. When was the last time there was, from one show to the next, a consecutive show like that on the same network, that it dropped that drastically? And I think it's because, first of all, the fact that the first show wasn't that great. People are saying it was an amazing SmackDown. Guys, it was just okay, alright? It was better than the norm. It was better than it sucking. Of course, it's always better than it being complete garbo. So, by default, of course that SmackDown is going to look like the best thing you've ever seen. Because when was the last time we actually genuinely got a good show? It's been a very, very long time. So, of course, we see The Rock, we see, an actual star on our television. We actually see someone who actually looks like they belong. I mean, we're looking at one of the greatest of all time, and it wasn't even one of the best promos. And you had Cringy Lynch there, and Cringy Lynch, she did okay. I see a lot of people, they were probably expecting me to crap all over it and say it was horrible, but it really wasn't that bad. It was a decent segment. It was enjoyable for what it was. I think they buried Corbin a bit too much, but that's besides the point. I mean, him, selling the punches for Becky Lynch just looked really... That was the most cringeworthy thing. It wasn't actually anything that Becky said. It was the fact that she was beating up Corbin. She actually looked like she... and here's the other thing. I just saw that, on the new WWE video game, 2K20, they're rating her at a 90. And, I remember in WWE video games, they wouldn't rate any of the women any higher than, a 70, a 60-something. Because, they're women. But for some reason... You've got Becky Lynch, they've got her an overall rating of a 90. Now, I haven't checked into the game to see if they actually let you have men face off against women, because I think that's still not allowed in the video games. It used to be a feature that they used to allow, but I think they took that out, back when it was SmackDown versus Raw. I don't know if they put that feature back in. So I apologize for the inaccuracy if that is the case. But just seeing Becky Lynch with a 90. But anyway, that's besides the point. So, anyway, the last week's show was decent. I really struggle to say it was good or great, because it wasn't great. It might have bordered on good slightly. It was really decent. That would be the best word to describe it. But this week is the draft. For some reason, I don't know why they feel that they need a draft. Why it's so important for them to keep certain stars on certain shows. When you've got a roster that doesn't really have too many big names and doesn't have a lot of star power behind it, and there are potential stars there. You've got Drew McIntyre, you've got Bray Wyatt, you've got Roman Reigns, you've got quite a few potential, stars there, but you haven't built any of them up over the years. Some of these guys have been on the roster for 5-6 years, like Bray Wyatt, and you still don't know how to do them justice. So it would probably be wise to probably do what they've been doing for the past few months, and even they've been getting this wrong. Like when the rosters are separated, I mean, how bad is it, right? It was pretty bad. That's why they started doing the wild card rule, right? So now they've got they started putting the all the wrestlers like on all the different shows and everything, and it was still bad. It might have even gotten worse. So I guess they feel that because their creative is lousy and their booking is lousy, let's just separate it again. Like, how is separating a roster that is that is completely, devoid of all star power? How is, like, actually making it even thinner, making your roster even thinner, minimizing it, a better idea? It's not. It was an interesting idea back in 2002, but the fact that we're still talking about a draft right now in 2019, it's something that I don't know why it blows my mind still, but that is like the one thing where I just don't understand it. Why is there a draft? What is the point of this imaginary draft, these imaginary barriers? And then Survivor Series is going to come around next month, and, we're going to pretend, it's a war. Like, even though most of these guys now are going to be only on certain shows for, like, only a few weeks, and they're going to have brand loyalty, brand supremacy. Bah! Give me a break. So anyway, this was probably one of the goofiest, nerdiest shows I've ever seen. I also have tons of notes here, like this whole page, and this page here is all full of notes, and it's really bright, so you can't really even see it, due to the lighting I have in here. So anyway, let's just start off the show. So it was all about drafts, draft picks, and all that, and we'll talk about the draft picks. It's probably going to be a somewhat long video, but it's going to be an entertaining one, guys, so let's get ready for this one. So we start off with a match between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Okay, so alright, so this is a pretty big match, right? I'm not a Seth Rollins fan, but they're kicking it off with, with the champion, with the Universal Champion, and Roman Reigns. And, like, I don't know why you're not making a bigger deal out of Roman Reigns. Like, guys, I've been watching some videos that GQ put out of Roman Reigns. This guy's got such a great personality. He's a heartwarming individual. He's a nice guy. And he could be such a beloved babyface. But then you just, like, see this and, he just has a match. Just a match. Like, this is all that Roman Reigns is to them. Like, how is GQ a magazine? How are they using a wrestler better than WWE, the wrestling company? I'll tell you why. Because they're not using him as a star. They're using him as a wrestler. That's the problem. They don't see Roman Reigns as an entertainer. They see him as a professional wrestler, which is all wrong, because that does not sell. Like, I know people are going to say, well, Brad, it's called wrestling, so it's obviously about wrestling. No, it's not. Well, look, guys, there's great wrestling matches, obviously, right? But it's about storytelling and characters and the people that are in these matches. I'm sorry, I don't care about the moves and everything like that. I'm talking about, why should we watch anybody? Anyone tuning in, they see Roman Reigns, they recognize that he's a star, but then they look at Seth freaking Rollins, and they're going to be like, why am I watching this guy? You don't know anything about any of these guys. So, like, what's the point? You don't even know Seth Rollins. And I don't even think they let him talk on the last show. Probably because they didn't want the Fox audience to hear this lovely voice. And you know what the stipulation to this match is? whoever wins, their brand gets the first pick. No, it's not that they will be first available for a pick, not them, but just the brand will get to pick first. So, I don't get, like, how is this motivating them to wrestle each other? Oh, I gotta remain loyal to my brand. How does this affect them one way or the other? Like honestly, are they gonna be motivated to wrestle when it's not even for a belt or some type of prize? Like, they're not even getting anything out of it. Did they stop and think for 1 minute that the audience viewing this on Fox, which is supposedly a wider audience, I would say it's definitely a wider audience, they're not going to stop and question this for a minute? Anyway, so during the match, the Fiend the lights go out, and the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, he comes up through the canvas. He pulls Seth Rollins under the ring. Seth Rollins scrambles out from underneath it. There was smoke coming out of there. The thing is, guys, we've seen this spot so many times. And I usually agree with Vince Russo most of the time, but I have to say, seeing the Fiend come out, we saw it with Kane a few years ago. We'd see, Kane's done it a few times. The Undertaker's done it as well. I mean, come on. These types of spots, there's so many things you could do with the Fiend. I mean, he has a cinematic look to him. The guy, Bray Wyatt, is great. And, I have said things about the Fiend character because I know that they're going to ruin it. And they did. People have actually been saying, no, they didn't ruin the Fiend at Hell in a Cell. The Fiend is as over as he could possibly be in the current landscape. Why would you not take the title off a goofball like Seth Rollins, especially when the Fiend is going to be on Fox? So there's a little spoiler for you. He's going to be on Smackdown. So why not give him the title? Why wait? I mean, at least if you show that the Fiend is the champion. I mean, horror movies are popular. The Fiend, this is such a no-brainer. I mean, oh, God. But anyway, so, the lights go out and the Fiend is staring. A good camera shot of the Fiend staring at Seth Rollins. But where did Roman Reigns go during all this, dude? He just, poof, he just disappeared. Aren't Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns supposed to be good friends? So I guess he's just he's not going to save Seth or anything or try to help him out. See you later, Seth. Have fun underneath the ring, fella. Hey, aren't you going to help me? Nah, Roman just keeps going. He's probably got another interview at GQ, so he's just going to keep on trucking. Absolutely asinine, if you ask me. Oh, my God. Anyway, Stephanie comes out. Isn't it nice hearing Stephanie again? I don't know what's a more grating voice, Seth Rollins or Stephanie McMahon's, but Stephanie's here, and so she introduces us to the draft picks. So they were showing in the Fox room, they had some guy dressed up as a robot. And then at the USA Network, they showed guys, I don't know if they were real executives or if these were actors that were paid to act like executives, but I'm going to actually say that they probably were real executives. So I don't know, because they have different sportscasters on here and former, people who are sportscasters that are former football players and everything. So I would assume that they probably picked real people, but then again, you don't know. And they're high-fiving for these draft picks. Yeah! Oh, this product is horrible, but let's celebrate as they as this horrible show. They make these picks that don't even mean anything for a fake product. It's a fake draft. Like, this is the thing, guys. Like, alright, let me save all the criticisms until we talk about the picks. So, Stephanie says, Becky Lynch is going to Raw. She's the #1 draft pick, mind you. So, you're telling me that the world champion who just wrestled in the first match, or Brock Lesnar, those are not #1 picks? Like, if the world champion is not the first pick of the show, then the wrong person is champion. But Brock Lesnar is a champion too. Unless he was ineligible for some weird reason, which I don't think they even mentioned. So I don't get it. How is this making any sense? I don't understand that. So, and the second pick goes to SmackDown, and that's Roman Reigns. So how are they picking Roman Reigns, who's not a champion, over the champion? Like, what is going on here? This doesn't even make any sense. So if they're going to pick women, so then logically, shouldn't the second pick, if they're want to empower women and everything, shouldn't the second pick then be Charlotte? I'm not understanding that. I'm really not getting that at all. Because if you ask me, the first pick should be either Seth Rollins or Brock Lesnar. Whoever picks first, and then for the second pick, then SmackDown gets to pick. If they pick Seth Rollins and SmackDown picks Lesnar, or vice versa, that does not make any sense at all. But nothing ever makes sense here. So Becky Lynch is the first round draft pick for Raw. Of course, the women mean everything to us. We empower women. So, of course, she's got to be the #1 draft pick. Why not? Like, this is what you're telling the Fox audience. Like, you've got, all these guys on the roster, and the first one you're going to do is pick Becky Lynch. I wonder why they lost 1 million viewers. Anyway, Raw picks the OC. And, you're looking at this and say, okay, who's the OC? You don't tell us who they are even, what they're about. There's some accomplishments listed there on the side. And AJ Styles is a former champion. And, I'm just saying you're drafting him as a team. You're considering him to be kind of like a tag team wrestler here. On the same level as the New Day. SmackDown picks The Fiend. So, The Fiend is now on there. But I guess, no one wants Seth Rollins, I guess. So, I'm still failing to see this. How is Rollins still not getting picked? So they go over and they pick The Fiend. Obviously, we all knew that Fox wanted The Fiend. They were saying that, on the dirt sheets. They wanted The Fiend. So The Fiend is going to SmackDown. Drew McIntyre is going to Raw. He's not even there. He doesn't even show up. I know he's not injured anymore from what I heard. So why are we not at least show, what Drew McIntyre looks like? How about a run-in or something like that? Start a feud maybe with someone? No? Okay, well, so, anyway, Joe Buck, then they start talking about the draft, and he starts saying that, if he was a wrestler, his move would be the pile driver. Stuff is just so lame. Honestly, this is the type of stuff that makes being a wrestling fan embarrassing. I just feel I don't know. I feel like Fox and WWE and all these people involved were just making fools out of themselves. Hey, we're wrestling fans too, guys. Ridiculous. Baron Corbin defeats Shorty Gable. So it's official now, guys. They're calling Chad Gable Shorty Gable now. Shorty Gable. Shorty Gable. Is this really what we're doing here? I'm not a big Chad Gable fan. I'm not going to say, it's not nice to call him Shorty. But, like, honestly, like, his biggest weakness, you're going to make that a thing now? Like, at first it was like an accident, right? The backstage interviewer accidentally says, a Shorty. I mean, Chad. Like, now it's just like, that's his name, and he's just all of a sudden comfortable with it because he said, you could call me whatever you want. So the very next week, now he's just Shorty Gable. I'm sure he's going to get over big time. Hey, you know what else will really get him over? Him losing the match. So you call him a stupid name, and then you have him get beat clean. Great. Not like I care, but I mean, like, if you're going to go to the trouble of changing this guy's name and everything, like, and they showed this match so many times before. So, like, are they, honestly, are they trying to have a bad show? Like, this is your second match on Fox. You're doing this stupid draft. You pick a girl first. It's like, what? It's like watching the show just gives you a headache. Makes no sense. It's just stupid. All of it's dumb. And it's embarrassing. What is Fox thinking putting this on? This network that had so many great shows over the years. Now they want this garbage on there? Terry Bradshaw and Howie Long and a few other guys are talking about wrestlers from... They're talking about Killer Kowalski. They're talking about Bruno Sammartino. They're talking about Dusty Rhodes. Like, not even The Rock, not even Stone Cold. I'm not saying that these guys were not great legends. But my God, like, can you date yourself even more? These guys are like, you know, instead of putting over the current roster, it's like, hey, let's talk about guys that either passed away or, you know, are no longer competing. You know, at least, okay, Hulk Hogan, so, you know, he's going to be involved in Crown Jewel. And by the way, they're mentioning Crown Jewel on the show, but guess what? It's a pay-per-view, and I don't even know where it's going to be because they don't say where it is. Gee, wonder where it's going to be. Hey, it wouldn't happen to be in Saudi Arabia, would it? And you're too embarrassed to say that it's going to be there on network television. So we're going to pull this thing all again. So people are going to tune into the network and they're going to see that it's in Saudi Arabia. It's like, if you're embarrassed where the show is going to emanate from, you probably shouldn't be doing the show there in the first place. Oh my God. Like, honestly, guys. Like, okay. And now, okay, Stephanie with more draft picks. Orton's going to Raw. Sasha's going to SmackDown. Ricochet's going to Raw. And by the way, guys, Ricochet's a superhero. Have you heard? So, it's funny. Wasn't Neville, wasn't Pac, wasn't he the superhero, right? Tag teaming with the guy who played Green Arrow, you know, on the CW. So now Pac is in AEW, and so now he's not the superhero anymore. That belongs to Ricochet. Yeah, Ricochet sure does look like a superhero, right? I know, I think of Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, Wolverine, all these guys. And I know right next to all those great names, I think of Ricochet, right? What? Yeah, what a superhero is. What? My God. The guy looks like a total ham and egg, or looks like a nobody. And you're telling your Fox audience. You're telling your audience that this guy's a superhero. No one's going to believe that. They see like a guy who just looks like a nobody. He's a superhero. Sounds like very childish, calling grown men superheroes. Like, obviously, he's not a superhero. And it's not a gimmick like the Hurricane. He's not dressed up like a superhero. So how is he a superhero? Oh, he flies around like one. Braun Strowman is going to SmackDown. Lashley is going to Raw. I mean, I would have had Lashley on SmackDown. Like, honestly, you know, if SmackDown is supposed to be the bigger deal, why would you not have somebody like Lashley on there? Especially if you're going to have your #1 draft pick be a woman. I say you pick one of the best black wrestlers and put him on SmackDown. Fools. Then they go to the panel. It's Samoa Joe and Booker T. And we just see how much better Booker T is than both Michael Cole and Corey Graves. Brock Lesnar is in the ring with Paul Heyman. So I don't know. Why is Brock Lesnar not a draft pick, right? He's the WWE champion. And if Kofi Kingston, who was a former champion, why is he not getting drafted? Like, nobody wants the champions? Paul Heyman does the same promo, but I guess it's different because it's on Fox. So, yeah, this is the Fox promo. It's the same thing. Coming out there, and, you know, Cain Velasquez comes out. He talks in Spanish. Rey Mysterio translates, and nothing else really happens. He just tells him he's going to give him another scar to match the one he already gave him in that, you know, that UFC fight from 9 years ago. Then we've got a 6-man tag match. It's the New Day defeating the OC. And, you know, guys, like, this is what I was saying about, you know, the OC getting drafted. So the New Day didn't even get drafted yet. You know, before this, they're showing, you know, that they're giving those replica title belts to the Susan G. Komen women, to the breast cancer survivors, which, you know, is nice. Like I said, I'm not going to knock that. You know, you can say what you want about the charity and all that, but you know, like, so anyway, you're showing these guys in such a positive light. So don't these, like, network, hey, great pick, guys, don't they think, like, that's good? So they're not gonna pick those guys. So, and one of those guys, Kofi Kingston, the guy who pins AJ Styles in this match, he was just champion until the guy in the previous segment beat him. But I guess because now he lost in like 9 seconds, no one wants him. Like, I don't understand. And like, you know, they're talking on the panel about how important it is. You know, a good draft pick has got to be someone with power and speed. It's fake! Oh my God, stop talking about it like it's real, like it's football or basketball or something like that. This is not a real draft. It's just some stupid idea that Vince McMahon and Triple H and Stephanie McMahon came up with. It's lame, it's dumb, it's stupid. It's making the product seem even... By trying to make the product more realistic, you're making it even faker. It looks 10 times more fake this way. You know, just because you got a bunch of guys to make some comments about it from the sports world doesn't legitimize it. It's still fake. And I'm not trying to troll you or anything, but honestly, like, instead of, like, building characters, telling great stories, cutting great promos that we could be talking about for years, we're still talking about Bruno Sammartino. We're still having to go back and pull The Rock out of Hollywood and his next blockbuster film because we don't have anybody worth a damn! I mean, this is like ridiculous already. This is a stupid show with stupid ideas, like very fake, cheesy, corny moments. No kidding, you lost a million viewers. This is horrible! It's bad! Stephanie McMahon, our next draft pick. Jeez, like, you know, oh God, so, like, I'm saying you got 2 former champions, Kofi Kingston and AJ Styles. And this is, like, the 6-man tag match. Like, so, obviously they're done with Kofi Kingston. He's totally out of there. You wasted everyone's time. You know, 6 months as champion, half a year as champion, whatever it was. And now he's, like, they're done with him. This is what they do with everybody. No one has any momentum. You imagine this Stone Cold Steve Austin the first time he lost the title? Like, you imagine if they just strayed away from Stone Cold, you're going back to the mid-card. Okay, Rock, you're gonna be Intercontinental Champion. We're gonna put you back to Rocky Maivia status. Then you're like, how come this didn't happen in the past? It only happens now because they don't know what they're doing. And everyone says, oh, when Triple H takes over, Triple H is a mark. I mean, this guy, like, I don't know what happened to him. You know, at first he criticizes Chris Hero for not working out. The next thing we know, Chris Hero is like a big time, a big time champion, a big deal in NXT. What happened to Triple H? Got like corrupted and brainwashed. I don't know. Maybe you watched too many YWC videos. Maybe you watched too many What Culture videos. I don't know what it is, but like, to anyone saying that when Vince McMahon passes away and Triple H takes over, the product is going to get better. In a lot of ways, I feel like it's going to get worse. Because Triple H doesn't know what he's doing either. NXT is not good TV. They have good matches. Who cares? They're horrible. None of those people there will ever make it. Put any of those guys on Fox and they're going to do even worse than these guys are. Like, and these are the matches that we're having. New Day versus the OC. Garbage. So let's run through these draft picks. Alexa Bliss is going to Raw. Yeah, don't have the hot girl over on SmackDown. Put her on Raw to show that you're not going to focus on as much. But Lacey Evans is going to SmackDown. Okay, so there you got one attractive girl. Kevin Owens is going to Raw. So after all that nonsense of him trying to, like, put SmackDown back to normalcy, and the Fox audience sees him in a ladder match, they take him off of SmackDown. I guess because nobody was buying him as the next Stone Cold Steve Austin because he does a stunner. No one was buying into that. So I don't get it. Like, he goes to the trouble of getting Shane McMahon off of SmackDown for this new era on Fox, and he's not even going to be there. So, like, what was the point? Like, do you see this storytelling? It's dumb! All of it is stupid, moronic, bad, really bad. The Revival is going to SmackDown. Oh, it's such a charismatic tag team. I'm sure that's going to go over well. Don't be surprised if you lose another 1 million viewers by next week after these great draft picks. Natalia's going to Raw. Natalia's pretty much finished. I said I've never seen where, like, someone doesn't get over. And I don't know whose fault that is. Natalia's a good wrestler and everything. She's Jim Neidhart's daughter and everything like that. But they have not done right by any second generation stars. Look at Curtis Axel. You know what I'm saying? Look at Bo Dallas. Look at any of these wrestlers. You've failed them all. The only guy is Randy Orton because Orton's a special case. That guy is just, he was born for it. You've got the Viking Raiders going to Raw. The Lucha House Party's going to SmackDown. Oh my God. Why would you put these cornballs on SmackDown? Like these like stereotypical luchadors that dance around and act goofy. Like, do you really think like that's a wise idea for the Fox audience? You're trying to be taken seriously. Never mind that all these executives are high-fiving each other and acting like goofballs on TV and making fools of themselves. Like, that's what I'm saying. You don't see that stuff on the NFL. And you don't see that in the NBA drafts. But somehow, in wrestling, hey, yeah, great pick. It's already written into the show ahead of time, but hey, great pick. Nikki Cross is going to Raw. Who cares? Who really cares? So, like, Alexa Bliss was, like, on fire at one point, or as on fire as one could be in the current climate of WWE. Why are you taking Nikki Cross, who you've stripped of her psychotic gimmick, and you're just, like, she's just weighing Alexa down? Like, I feel like Alexa Bliss can't do what she's allowed to do. Like, this girl's giving her body to WWE. They have, you know, she has had multiple concussions. For a while there, I thought that she was probably going to retire because she was being kept out of the ring for so long. But it seems like that is not the case. But then again, I'm not so sure. Like, I don't even know, like, what her health condition is. I'm still somewhat concerned about her. But, I'm like, why is this Nikki Cross, like, what is the deal? Like, why is she latched on to Alexa Bliss? This was the time to, like, turn it all around. You know, and like I said, she's hot. She's, like, obviously, like, one of the most charismatic on the roster. I still stand by that. I've been saying that for years here on this channel. And for some reason, they take her off of SmackDown. She's not going to be on there. Heavy Machinery is going to SmackDown. That's a good idea because, you know, Otis looks very entertaining. It's an entertaining tag team that, of course, WWE is going to do nothing with because, you know, guys, after Hell in a Cell, you really going to challenge me anymore about, oh no, they're super over and charismatic. It doesn't matter how charismatic guys, Elias, Bray Wyatt. You know, do I need to make any more examples? I mean, honestly, like, every single person that they have had, they have failed. The Street Profits are coming to Raw. They're, like, barely on Raw, but, like, they're on Raw now. So, like, okay. Then some guy, I don't know what his name was. It was, like, Glazier or something like that. He's talking about, like, the importance of the picks and that there's going to be a major blockbuster pick. Like, never mind that none of the champions have been picked. Kofi Kingston hasn't been picked. You know, like, my God, like, I'm sure I'm not, like, thinking of certain people that weren't picked, but, like, there's a lot of guys that didn't get picked that are, like, I think are sort of a big deal, and they just kind of, you know, fell off the radar here. And, you know, that's another thing. Like, if Becky Lynch is going to get picked to be on Raw, then, like, why is not the most logical thing then to do is to then make the number 2 pick for SmackDown? Why is that not also, like, the SmackDown Women's Champion? So if the Raw's Women's Champion is going to Raw, the SmackDown Women's Champion is not going to SmackDown? Anyway, he also talks about Sonya Deville, which I agree with. This girl should have been a star a long time ago due to her MMA background. But, like, it just came all super random. My pick, Sonya Deville. It's like, you know those memes? Nobody. This guy. Sonya Deville. Like, okay. And then he gets a call from his mom and walks off. Great segment there. Not totally nerdy or geeky or foolish or dumb or anything like that. It's Fox, guys! It's a hot show! Then in the main event, we've got Bayley. And Bayley, she comes out. She's got a new haircut. She looked pretty good with the haircut. You know, I don't know why they didn't just let her hair down. Like, you know, Bayley's not really that bad looking. It's just with the stupid, you know, side thing here and that big enormous chin. You know, it's like it's not really complimenting her, like her the look that she had. But now they've changed it. She's now got short hair. She came out. She started puncturing those balloon friends. And, you know, so, like, that was funny that they did that. But, like, didn't she, like, become a heel, like, a few weeks ago? But they weren't, like, a few months ago, but they weren't committed to it. They were like, she's just siding with Sasha. So now she's a full-blown heel, finally. So now it's like, well, she's sort of a heel, but kind of not. But now she's a full-blown heel. Okay. So anyway, she comes out. It's time for a women's championship match. The SmackDown Women's Championship match against Charlotte Flair. Guess what happens? Bayley wins the belt back from Charlotte. So, like, now Charlotte has, like, now she won and lost this championship, like, 10 times. It's like, what was the point of that? It looks so foolish that she's won these belts in such close proximity to one another. Like, there's not even like that much gaps between the reigns. Like, they were so much better with just having Charlotte just have this belt, have her keep it for like a year. I mean, she's like taller than all the other women. She's more muscular than all the other women. So, like, why is she not the dominant one? I'm sorry, but, like, Fox, like, new attitude or not, Bayley just comes in there, and again, like, you know, the match just ends in a roll-up. Like, oh my God, oh God, just make it stop already. This is horrible. If anything, the show is worse. It's actually worse now on Fox. But by them trying to make this more important, they totally overthought this draft thing. Where all of it was the draft. People high-fiving each other. Goofballs from, you know, like, respectable individuals. Like Howie Long, Terry Bradshaw. Legends in football. Well-respected, like people that like usually talk on Fox about sports, and their opinions are well respected, or I assume so. Like even someone like me who's not a sports fan knows of these guys. They're famous. They've been on talk shows. They've been in commercials. So these guys just like they made total fools out of them, and just like it was just a very hokey show. Everyone just seemed like a bunch of bozos. It was a real hey type of show. I mean, really, it made everyone look so foolish, whoever they had involved. And like, not only that, but this show, just like the matches and everything, it just looked bad. Like, anyone who watched the first episode of SmackDown, go watch the first episode of SmackDown that was on UPN. And then go watch this. And you're going to say to yourselves, oh my, how the times have changed. And you better believe that they have. Because, dear God, this was so bad. So bad. I am even surprised. Like, Hell in a Cell did not surprise me, but this surprised me how bad it was. I mean, they went from a decent, bearable, acceptable show from last week to a completely unbearable mess that just, it was like a total circus, and I mean that in the worst way possible. It was just cringeworthy to the umpteenth degree. Cringier than Cringy Lynch, cringier than cringe, cringier than anything that's ever been cringeworthy before. I mean, like, if there were awards for cringe, this would be like the world champion of cringe. This show right here. Very bad. It made the episode of AEW from Wednesday night look like WrestleMania 17 in comparison. I mean, Jesus. I mean, whoa! I mean, I don't know what to say here, folks. But, I mean, if you watch this, there's no way you're walking away from this show saying that was a success. That was an epic fail. A failure beyond fails. Oh, my God. Guys, if this is episode 2, what is episode 3 going to look like? Anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video, because I didn't enjoy the show at all. It was horrible. But thank you for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. And guys, I'll see you next time.